These guys are doing, a $50,000 payout, $100,000 payout. Well, you don't realize there's $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 behind that payout that they spend, on prop firm spend. Bookmap takes a while. It's like anything else. It takes a long time of watching the damn thing day in and day out to build experience on it.
But do you define it as being profitable if you can take payouts, or is it taking more payouts than you spend? What defines being a profitable prop trader now?
It's a game and it's lucrative, and it's I know a lot of guys have a lot of guys say it's us against the firms. The firms are the devil, and I'm gonna milk them until they're done. Be cautious of who you're watching, and question to a degree what they're doing, what's going on with their trading. If you have traders that are trading and taking huge payouts across multiple firms, and they're not discussing any of the type of accounts they're trading, how they're trading them, how aggressive they're being, there's a good chance that that's not trading.
What's up, traders? Welcome back to the podcast. We got Zach Boyajian, part 2, buddy. It's been too long, dude. It's almost a year since we did our first one. We did the roundtables in Miami. We did the boot camp in Tampa, which we could say, I guess, to start here, bro. Tickets are on sale now for boot camp 2026, everybody. It'll be May 14th and 15th. Zach will be there. We got a ton of guest speakers, so I'll put a link down below for that. But Zach, it's good to see you, buddy.
Absolutely, man. Glad to be back on. Thanks for having me.
I'm looking forward to deep diving a couple of things with you today, bro. I want to talk markets for sure. I think we start there, cover what's been working for you. I know the live stream has gotten very popular, so I'm interested to see if your chat's doing well too, what you see working well for them, because I think people want to hear your take on the grind at all-time highs here, how you're trading that. And then I think we maybe talk a little bit about just the interaction with the community, the reception to some of the prop firm stuff that's been going on. I'm sure people want to hear from you about that too. So we'll crack it all open, bro. But let's start with this studio thing we were just talking about, bro. So coming down the pipeline for the Real Deal Futures, can you tell anybody we're going to put this out in October, right, bro? So we'll put this out around Halloween. Tickets are on sale for the event. People are going to come see us in May. By May, do you think you'll have everything built and ready, and the Miami HQ is going to be ready? What are you thinking?
I'm hoping. If you guys are looking, behind me from the same backdrop as this first one a year ago, but I got something in the works to really build out a studio, right? Streaming studio, content type studio, and just improve the quality of overall my ability to lock in and trade and be able to put out a badass stream.
Yeah, I think that it's growing fast, bro. I feel like I caught you right before you started to get a lot of attention. You know what I'm saying? We did our first podcast together, and then I feel like it really started being consistently popping on the stream for you. People really in the Discord going crazy, so it's been really good. I've seen it from the outside. Yeah. How do you feel like how do you feel like the growth has been?
It's been awesome, man. It's been fun. For anybody that doesn't know, I stream 100% free every dang day on YouTube, Kick, and X. And I crossed over 11,000 followers, which isn't subscribers on YouTube, which isn't insane.
Huge. Damn, bro, you're gonna catch me soon, bro. I'm worried. Don't make me nervous.
But no, man, it's crazy. I get quite a people on across platforms, streaming every day, and I think people enjoy the most. The comments I've got from what I put out there is really two things. One, I try to trade in a way that I would actually be trading if I was just trading my live account. It's not just wild YOLOing, insane entertainment. Try to have some fun, but I try to exercise patience, good risk management. I talk about the accounts that I'm in. I try to trade them for long periods of time, and really treat them with some respect. And along with that, free 99, hard to beat for doing it every dang day on YouTube. But just the transparency, showing the journey, right? The second piece is really showing the journey. Not that I'm the best trader in the world. I got it all figured out. I have some magic strategy, and you just come and watch, and you can print too. But the triumphs, the grind, the triumphs, the grind, the failures, right? The mistakes made, the the lost accounts, all of that stuff in between. I try to just grind it out every day. So I think that resonates with a lot of people. I think it's where a lot of traders are in this journey. At least it's where I am, where you don't just flip a page and it's all roses and rainbows and everything's, great. Even as you progress, there's a next level there, scaling up, adapting to different market conditions, handling either copy trading accounts or trading a live account. So yeah, the stream's been awesome, man. It's been great.
Before we go prop firm, are you trading your own money? Did a bird whisper in my ear and tell me that? Are you doing personal capital now too? Hey traders, I want to take a second to thank our sponsors. First, Top One Futures. If you use the code ASFX, that's going to save you over 50% on any account type with Top One. They are currently offering the cheapest instant funded account in the game. So if you want to get funded without having to jump through some crazy hoops or pass some crazy challenge, the instant funded accounts with Top One Futures are exactly where you need to go. For $290, you can get a $50K instant funded account that gives you $2,000 of drawdown with the potential to take a $2,500 payout on your first payout. So you're flipping $290 into a $2,500 payout if you can follow the rules and hit the $3,000 profit target. Now they have larger accounts and smaller accounts. Head to their website, like I said, with the link in the description, and you can check out all the information about Top One Futures. Having paid out already 14 million, almost 15 million to traders, they are the one-stop shop that you need to get funded, stay funded, and get consistently paid out. TradeZella is the second sponsor for today's episode. Use the code ASFX to save 20% on their journaling software. If you're looking for a one-stop shop for backtesting, journaling, and tracking your trades, TradeZella is it. They will provide you with the Zella insights and the reports that show you exactly what you're doing well and what you need to work on. You can tag your entries, you can tag your setups. Everything you do can be tracked in TradeZella, now using their progress tracker. So use the code ASFX, click the link in the description, and now let's get back to the podcast.
I am doing personal capital. So
all right, so update us on that.
Yeah, man. So you actually asked this. You actually asked this in Miami at the round table, and I had said, nope, I'm trading props. My goal is with props right now, and I started to shift this year into, I think, it's just an evolution, right? Everybody kind of goes through different spots. Maybe you want to get, and this is where I started, right? I wanted to get consistent with prop firm payouts. First, I wanted to get funded, right, with Top Step. Then I wanted to get, max funded and then consistent with prop firm payouts. And I started to achieve all that. Like coming into this year, every month, taking consistent payouts, everything cool. Nothing insane, but really like hitting those goals. From there, I'm fairly well capitalized on the outside. But from there, I was looking like, where am I going to go with props, right? And I think there's kind of two paths you can go down in general. You're either going to look to copy trade a ton of accounts across a lot of firms and really scale. Nothing wrong with doing that. Trade them pretty aggressively, really like fine tune that, or focus on getting kicked to a live account and trading your own personal capital in the futures market. So I started out really trading live Forex accounts. Came over to futures and it was just straight up the prop firm journey. So I've been on that for a while, which I still am every day, but I'm trading a live account, trading a primarily just for futures, and it's been cool, man. It's been really cool. It's been interesting to just notice some of the differences, to watch the broker regulations, different things around session changeover, margin requirements. It's been a cool experience, but going well so far, man. Can't complain.
Well, I got to know, is there any big road bumps, hiccups that you've come across as a first time like live account trader that you would share to the guys that maybe haven't opened an account yet?
Yeah, I'd say so. I had some experience from the Forex side, trading a decent size live account. So it wasn't too much of an insane transition for me. But what I will say, it's very similar across the board. You can trade on TradingView, whatever your favorite platform is. One thing I will say though is the risk is on all the time. Right. There's really no room, for error. And a lot of guys, including myself, maybe we'll deposit money, we'll open an account and we'll say, yeah, I'm going to risk a small percent of this, whatever, 1%, 10%, whatever that number is. But you have to recognize if a stop loss isn't in place or you fat finger something, it's not a prop account. It's the full size of the account. You stand to lose that much money, the entire amount. So I would just say having that really slowed down extra respect for the account itself, when you're setting orders, double checking, stop loss placement, sizing, all of these things, slowing down a little bit. And first testing, like for anybody that's going to jump into anything on any
that's what I was going
platform,
to say. Not to cut you off. Do I start with a $5,000 account before I put 50 in and trade like micros? Is that what you would say is the best way to start trading your own money?
So yeah, I was testing platforms. So I started small right off the bat before I grew it and dumped more in. But I would start with a micro, literally one micro, make sure everything's
How much
kosher,
money do you
cool.
need in an account to trade a micro on ES? Do you know?
I think the intraday margin requirement's low. It's like $40 or something. You need more than that.
Really?
Yeah, you need more than that to withstand any drawdown. But I
Okay, so
think,
if you put 5 grand in, you could probably throw a couple micros around.
oh, for sure,
Okay.
absolutely. Like most traders, you could trade. I think NQESYM are all really similar with the broker that I'm with. I think it's $500 per contract. That that's what shows up for your margin. So you can
Hmm.
trade significant number of contracts with a moderate size account. 5,000, ten
Interesting.
thousand bucks. But yeah, for anybody getting into it, I would just focus on the risk management side. It's different than prop firms. And you can't expect it to be the same. The growth is going to be slower unless you're really risking that full size of the account. I wouldn't deposit an insane amount because you don't need it in there unless you're going to trade really large size or carry positions where the amount that you have to have in there is significantly more to hold for multiple days. But yeah, it's been interesting to see that because I didn't have experience with that from the forex market. I didn't have experience with at session changeover. The margin requirement increases from $400 or $500 to $25,000 for one contract. To hold it to the next session. So some of that stuff's been interesting, but yeah, it's been cool. It's been good.
Knowing what you know now, would you start as a prop trader in futures, or would you start as a personal capital trader in futures?
I'd still start on props. I think
Yeah.
just having the risk be so low with prop firms, in a worst case scenario, you're losing the whole account or the series of copy traded accounts. It's drastically lower risk than everything you have in that main account. And again, it's not that I think most people are going to fat finger something and lose an account, but
No, but you got to think this is why 90% of people lose. They get into live trading before they're even ready to be a live trader.
yep, you put way too much in, and I kind of did that early on. I had some respect for money, so I wasn't blowing accounts, but I was slowly bleeding. But if you can maintain, you're going to lose money to start. I hate to say that. Everybody's going to lose money to start to some degree. You're going to come off demo, hopefully with some juice, and then you're going to put risk on the line, and everything goes out the window, and you go, well, I had this all figured out. So if you can keep the amount that you're losing to an absolute minimum as you start to gain some consistency, figure out what works, fight all those demons, with prop firms, I think it's an awesome opportunity. I still think props as a whole are a great spot, even if you are an experienced trader. They're just different. It's two different worlds. The trading's similar, but the risk management, the style, the aggression, I think can be very different on a prop versus a live account.
I think that's well said. You get a lot of people in your stream I see interacting in the chat. How do you coach them through the live session? Because I think what I like about the way you trade and the way you teach is you're always looking to like help people see the next trade, not be too bought in, too heavy on one idea. Like you're always trade for tomorrow, trade for survival. And maybe if you could speak on too, like what common errors are you seeing traders in your chat right now succumb to? Maybe you want to start with that.
Yeah. Common errors. I'd say the most common thing that I see is the overtrading or over leveraging. And it's especially from guys that are in the chat often, so I notice it. If you start to gain some consistency, you start to have something that's working, you still have to check yourself for that tilt day. You have
100%.
to have the person, like easily said, if you're on Project X, personal daily loss limit, personal daily profit target is going to solve half of the problem that I'm talking
It
about.
really
right
does.
here.
But why do you think that issue? Because I say that, bro, you took the words out of my mouth. Over trading, oversizing, overdoing it. Everybody overly doing everything, just doing too much. You do the most and you get nothing. Why do you
Yeah,
think that
man.
is? Is it because everyone's programmed work more, make more, work more, make more, work
Yeah,
more, make more?
that's a part
Is
of
that
it.
it?
It's a part of it, man. I think it's a combo, but it comes back to this piece that I always have demonstrated to me, and it's a little abstract. I don't love to be the mindset psychology guy,
Come
but
on, take us there.
there's
Let's go.
there's you get a strategy down. You think at least that you have a small edge that you can repeatedly deploy in the market. You manage risk to the best of your abilities. And as soon as something starts to go a little bit too right or starts to go a little bit too wrong, the wheels fall off. Everything goes out the window. You see red, or you're acknowledging what you're doing, but you're burying the account. And it's this discipline and the way that we're thinking about trading, right? So I think it's like, if you have the understanding of the markets, we know each movement is random. We don't know what's going to happen on any one next trade with 100% certainty. Otherwise, we'd remortgage our houses and full port it, right? That's why there's risk management. It's why we have stops. So if we acknowledge that, why are we putting so much risk on the next trade after a loss or a win? It doesn't make sense. You're gambling on that one. And past that, once you know that, you recognize it, it's the discipline piece of just being able to sit on your damn hands, man. So I think, people are hardwired to be doers, to work, to put trades on and off. I think that's what a lot of us think we're supposed to be doing. Sometimes the market's chopping, or if you're, a range trader, sometimes the market's just ripping in one direction. There's nothing for you to do besides not trade, sit cash. But that's the hard part, man. That's the hard part. In my opinion, you can learn a strategy. You can put together, something. You have to gain experience. You have to have experience. You got to build some discretion. You can figure out risk management pretty quick. But then actually being able to exercise some control in the market and have something repeatable day in and day out, where you don't have that blow up day, that big red day. That's the key, man. That's the key. And I'm not speaking from a place where I don't feel it myself, where I don't have those days where
it's the opposite. You've had so many of them that
so many
now,
right? You start to get calmer in the losses, you get calmer during the win streaks, but man, you put your hand on that stove so many times, eventually you go, this just does not make sense. You start to build some discipline. But I think as a whole, from my community, I think a lot of guys, and it's a lot of different styles, right? I'm not one way across the board. I have an open community, 2,000 members in Discord. We got every different kind of trader you can imagine. And a lot of these guys do really well. They work themselves towards prop firm payouts. They're doing well in live accounts, but it's that same bad day all of a sudden, and it's different for everybody. Some guys, it's after the win streak. They're doing really well. All of a sudden, they're a superhero and they effing blow it. Other guys, it's okay, a couple losses, you know what, YOLO. 2 losses, immediate YOLO. Change everything, throw everything out the window. And if you can keep yourself down the middle, man, you can hold on to accounts at least long enough to figure out what's working and what's not working. I think that's
stay in the middle, man. It is. It's like a bell curve kind of, in a way, where you don't want to be too far. I mean, you could compare it to politics. You don't want to be too far right, too far left. Neither one of those is good for anybody. You know what I mean?
No.
So you want to be in the middle, not the gambler, not the tilter, but at the same time too. We could talk about this. I think this is another good topic for later. Maybe it's just being too conservative too is also worth noting too. In some of these prop accounts, it doesn't make sense to be too conservative.
No,
You've lost the money once you've bought it. But strategy. I don't want to leave too much off of.
Let's come back to that one. That's a good one. But okay. But hit me.
Okay. What's working for you right now? I know you're a VWAP guy, and I know volume plays a big role. We talked about that a lot in the last episode and in the roundtable. Maybe start with this before we get into like what's working. When people say, Zach, how do you trade? What do you tell them?
It's kind of a long-winded answer, and it's
we're
really
here. We
simple.
have a podcast. We could take a long time.
Good thing. I answer discretionary to start with, because I think that's important to note. Price action, market structure, volume, and a very little bit of order flow based. I attempt to identify key levels on the chart, either with market-generated information or just a discretionary level, and then look at reactions to and from VWAP and those levels. I apply quite a bit of discretion to the exact direction that I'm trading, the exact entry itself. I try to structure my risk in a way that's pretty damn consistent so I can do something that's really repeatable. I certainly have a personal daily loss limit every single day. I know how many trades that I'm giving myself every single day based on that first one. But I don't have this, real simple, EMA crossover or XYZ happens. The market's been really interesting. I've found ES especially, which has been on the live streams for a bit, took a W today. Almost,
nice.
Not that I'm attempting to bottom tick a move, but almost bottom ticked a move, which was fun on the live. But ES has been tough to work with, man. It's been volatile. We've had these days where we just move and trend in one direction right off the open. We had one this week, these insane chop days where it's nothing but back and forth VWAP chop. We sweep a high, sweep a low, sweep a high. So for me, I've tried to zoom out a little bit, and maybe that means sizing down a little bit. I've tried to be much more selective with my trades. I'm really taking like one on the live session. I'm hard pressed to take two, and it's going to be a winner or a loser. And then I want to make myself okay with having no trade days as well. But just building
That's
on
not what the stream wants to hear, bro.
I know.
The
Listen,
stream
man,
wants us in the trades. Come
they
on.
do. They do. You know, there's a line. There's a line there as well, I think, between
I
just
let them rip me up, bro. On chat when I fight the VWAP today, I had 2 trades, 2 longs. I lost the first one and I won the second one. And the market sold off, as you know, this morning, and it's bounced back. But as I fight the VWAP on my first long, the chat's like, all right, here he goes. I mean, and they'll fade me. My chat will literally fade me, bro.
Because they know the trade. They know the trade you should be in, right? They will trade
with VWAP. Yep. And then they're just like, Austin's just being stubborn because he's hot the last couple of days, so he thinks he's right on everything, and he can call the opposite direction. And it's just it never works. It's crazy how stubborn, no matter how long you trade, you can still be. Don't you agree?
Man, 100%. That's a challenge in itself because you get more experience and you feel these strong reads of the market and you're like, oh yeah, I know what to do. And you step outside of the guardrails that have got you to where you are, and you get smacked around. But
I'll tell you what happened to me last month. I had a couple of like 2.5 weeks of green, over halfway to a payout. Every day was green. I was running super hot. And then
I saw that, man. You were on a heater.
You let that overconfidence spill over, and I took trades overnight and woke up red, took a first trade pre-market to try to make it back before the stream. Accounts were gone. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So overconfidence is, I think, the thing. If I would say what I see a lot of people struggling with too, because like markets right now for some people have been really good, so I see a lot of people running hot, overconfident, and then they blow up, and then they end up giving back weeks or days of gains. So I wonder, do you ever have when you see people dealing with that, you got any solutions, any tactics, any tips for dealing with that specifically?
Yeah, man. I'm going to come back to one piece of strategy after this,
okay,
but
go ahead.
I 100% agree. It's that down the middle piece, man. And I've been on both sides of it. And I think as you progress as a trader, you will be on both sides of it, where you have this super hot streak. You're green every day. It feels like you can't miss. You got yourself figured out, and you immediately start to come off of the things that have got you to that point. You come off of either your execution, the way that you're trading, your sizing.
Like, why was I trading Asian session?
Yeah. What are we doing?
None of the green days led to that.
No.
Had that. Right. So you just pull that out of nowhere. Exactly, like
dude,
you said.
And same on the losses, right? I find it, for me personally, I find it difficult, and I found it difficult in the past. 3-4 losing days back to back, it's not insane to have if you're a moderate win rate trader, but all of a sudden you're like, confidence is shaken, you want to throw everything out the window. You're looking at what everybody else is doing because everybody's always winning on social media, and you're like, how can I change everything that I've done that's got me to this point and fix this small losing streak that I have? So it's staying down the middle, man. Thinking in large sample sizes. There's a balance. You have to adapt. I think I've really made myself slow to adapt, but I was always too quick to change. As soon as losses came, throw everything out the window. But yeah, if you're hot, man, you got to keep yourself in check as well. The tip there, build some damn discipline, man. Build some discipline in your outside life.
I think it's also like taking a break too. Like no one talks about taking a break when you're doing well. But like, I know so many people that take a payout and then give the account back.
Right away.
Yes.
I think absolutely starting to take your foot off the gas. And this is a hot topic. I think people are going to say both. When you're hot, you're reading well, size up. That's where you make all your money. I understand that argument. But what I see so commonly, and I can't remember if it's Douglas or who's the boom and bust cycle, comment, but that's where so many guys stay stuck. They have something that works. They've got something figured out, but they can't hold on to any of their profit. As soon as that P&L curve it's like the market. There's a crazy pullback all the way, except it's all the way down and it's a
all
reversal.
The way down. Correct.
So I think really remembering as it happens, journaling why it happens, try to articulate to yourself what the heck you're doing, and keep yourself, right down the middle. And I've continued to try to do this myself. Try to find an appropriate amount of trades to look in to decide what's working and what's not working, right? If you're hot for a couple days or cold for a couple days, that doesn't call for you to throw your strategy or risk management or whatever you're doing out the window. You have no idea what the market's going to do, if it's going to go right back to when you were hot before. So, for me, I've become pretty slow to change in my ways to adapt to certain things. I think that's hurt me on a bull run in ES where I'm really bi-directional. I'm heavy on shorts and I'm getting cooked. And I could look at my stats from some of that to say, hey, dude, you can't miss on longs. You can't win on shorts. We got to adapt a little bit. You're focusing too much to the downside. But strategy wise, want to throw one more piece in there, man.
Mhm.
And it's coming from YM working really well, Dow working really well for me. I've bounced around the U.S. indices. I don't trade everything under the sun. I came from Forex trade and everything. I bounced around the U.S. indices quite a bit, hyper focused on ES, but I traded US 30 quite a bit as a CFD before I came over to futures years ago. And I've come back to YM a little bit. It's very mean reverting. For me, I just like the way that it moves. And where I'm going with this is here, if I had just maybe backed off a little bit on ES earlier on, came over to another US indice that I watch on the side really frequently, and started working a really simple approach to that, and maybe exercise some of my desire to go for these reversion style trades off of the open, rather than hammer it on ES or just continue doing what I'm doing during one session, I would probably have grabbed a lot more profit that I've grabbed in the live accounts, in the instant fundeds and stuff like that I have on YM without taking a beating. So
It is easy to say that in hindsight, though.
Easy to say that in hindsight. Very easy to say that in hindsight. But
So,
it's a balance, man. That
yeah.
and I think, like, whatever strategy you have, whatever approach you have, however discretionary you are, market's going to change. Market's always going to change. And the question is, how do you adapt to that without changing what you're doing so damn much where you're not applying any consistency day over day and you're doing something drastically different every single day and every week? Because we know
Well, that's what I was
going to
say. Everything you said only applies if you're being consistent in your approach. If you're not being consistent in the approach, if you're every day just guessing and gambling and you know what I mean, then that everything you said doesn't really apply to those people. We're talking to like the next layer of.
We're talking. You have something that works, right? And now you're starting to go through that. You have something that's maybe getting you break even and starting to move your needle in the right direction. How do you maintain through some drawdown? How do you maintain composure through some winning streaks without jacking anything up? But I think at its core first, which I struggled with for a long period of time, and I think most guys do, you got to do something consistent for long enough to figure out what the hell works and what doesn't work. Markets, or at least this is my belief and view of the market, my humble bias beliefs. I believe it's very random on the short term. I think it's very difficult to call what's going to happen on any one day or next movement. Over the long run, I think patterns repeat themselves. We are able to identify good areas to enter trades, structure risk, however you want to try to form an edge. But you have to be able to do something consistently through that randomness. It's a paradox that we have to deal with, through that random market conditions on the short term to get to the somewhat more consistent and predictable conditions on the long term. So yeah, if you're doing something completely different every single day, trend trading, range trading, scalping, 47 different instruments, different time frames, you don't stand a chance. You're going to get hot. You're going to get lucky at some point. You're going to get cold a lot, but you won't ever be able to repeat it. That's the other side. You'll make quick money, but you'll never be able to actually build off of that.
You got me thinking.
Yeah.
You got me thinking.
Yeah.
I guess we can leave strategy here. I want to do maybe more volume profile if it's worth deep diving, but I think that's a good point to finish strategy. Are you still relying on volume profile a lot?
Yeah. So I use two. I'll try to run it real quick. I use two primarily. Visible range volume profile, or volume profile visible range, sits on the right side of my chart. And that is a dynamic, exactly what it sounds like, visible range, whatever price action and market structure I'm showing, a dynamic horizontal view of volume sitting from the right-hand side. That's really nice for me on the 15-minute chart, zooming out, or even as price is printing throughout the day, to get different, key high volume areas, a temporary volume point of control, because it's always changing. But what I also like that's more consistent than that, to give me 3 really solid levels, is a fixed range volume profile. And I've come on and off this just because I bounce around different levels ever so slightly, but a fixed range volume profile for the prior day, and taking prior days, this is common, prior days volume point of control, value area high, value area low. I think those are key levels. They come into play. They give you a reference from where. I also use prior days high and low and overnight high and low. Those are all my levels right there. But they give you a reference from where you are based on, prior day. And most guys that are watching this, I'm sure you're probably on the 1 minute, the 5 minute chart, maybe the 15. It's difficult to see what the hell was going on yesterday and where you're at relative to yesterday's area of high volume, right? A point of control. So I really do like using those. Honestly, something like YM, the way that I'm trading it, really stupidly simply, zoom out, throw what I just said on the chart, just those two things, and take a look at the way that YM moves from areas of high volume to areas of high volume. Obviously, they coincide with price action and market structure, right? It's the similar approach looking at, you could call it support and resistance, order blocks, supply, demand, whatever you want to call it. But for me, I find it really easy to read. I am able to build confidence in it for whatever reason. It's a preference for me. So I really do like those. I really do like
Is there a
those.
book map for that? Can you or no?
No, not exactly on. Well, Bookmap has a lot of volume levels itself and volume profiles. So actually,
Okay.
yes, Bookmap does
Okay.
have its own on the right hand side.
Are you watching YM on Bookmap too?
I am. It's very different.
Okay.
It's very
Is
different.
it? Okay.
Yeah, man. Without to go too much further. So key levels coming off a volume profile. Really, really simple stuff. I'll also, for anybody listening, if you come and watch me trade, I trade stupidly simple. Maybe it sounds like I'm talking in a complex way here. I try to distill my stuff down to the absolute bare minimum technical, the dumb guy approach. That's the way that I try to look at it. I've tried to get way too complicated in the past. What's happening behind the candles, buyers here, sellers there. I even catch myself talking about that sometimes. And I find I do best when I say, okay, bullish trend, XYZ coming off a level, price is pushing up, volume looks good, enter. Not, what's going on between the battle between buyers and sellers and this crazy narrative about what's happening behind it. Like, even when I look at Bookmap. So, stupidly simple. Last comment on Bookmap, what I've found to be really interesting to watch is cumulative volume delta. It's a volume tool. We've talked about it quite a bit. We talked about it in Tampa. That bad boy is on ES specifically, because again, NQ and YM, I haven't watched it for long enough. I'm just not the expert. But Bookmap on S&P, ES, anybody can watch this all day. If you watch it for long enough, that CVD gives you a really interesting indication of what's going on. It's the difference between buy and sell volume, what's going on, and even if you just are looking at it objectively, if there's a heavy negative cumulative volume delta where we're slowly grinding to the upside on price, or we're kind of flattening out, I'm hard pressed to watch that thing just rip to the upside. It's not a leading indicator. It's not some magic anything, but that read of volume, maybe more so for me than like a traditional volume down on the bottom of the chart. That read of volume I really like. And again, I approach it like a dumb guy. Are we plus 10,000 and climbing as price is climbing? There's might be some juice behind that move. But
so you wouldn't short it in that example.
I'd be cautious shorting it. I'd be really cautious shorting it. I will note, just like anything else, man, it's just a tool, and I've been on the wrong side of it.
It doesn't work 100%.
No, bro. Yesterday or the day before was an example. It was negative. I was leaning on it probably a little bit too heavy. I had whatever bias I wanted, and I wanted the shorts, and I got cooked on it. It's just like anything else. Nothing to 100%, right? Not to say it's some magic or go and watch this thing and you're going to be profitable. But I think, again, I always revert to the simplest stuff. It's a really simple one to watch. You can watch it throughout the day. I glance over at it all day. And pattern recognition, you start to get a feel for, okay, wait a minute, we're slowly climbing and now we're starting to consolidate. We were looking at a positive 3,000, 4,000. It depends on where you anchor it also, the number. But all of a sudden, now we're dropping out. Now we're back to flat. Price is kind of like dipping a little bit here. Now all of a sudden, on that next move down, we drop to like negative 1,000, negative 2,000 CVD. What happens next? Oftentimes, we sell off a little bit. We get some continuation there, right? So in that type of pattern recognition way, I like CVD as well.
Where's an education resource for Bookmap? I asked Bruce this. He said the Bookmap courses, of course, that was his thing.
Yeah.
People ask me, like, when should I start with Bookmap? I get that question so often on stream. Because it isn't super cheap compared to some of the other things, so people are a little hesitant. Even I know you got a discount code, I got a code.
Yeah, I'm partnered and affiliated with Bookmap. I should say that. Right
yeah,
off the
we
bat,
are.
Right?
We are partnered. We're very happy to be partnered with Bookmap.
Yeah,
they are.
I was using Bookmap before I be partnered, and if they said, "Hey Zach, you're done," I'd be using them after.
They were sponsor of the event. They're probably going to be a sponsor of the event next year too. So we're heavily involved with Bookmap. But like, other than them as a resource, I always just tell people to get it and start watching it.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you tell people?
You took the words out of my mouth, man.
Okay.
I like the site for the baseline, right? Because it could be a little bit complex. It feels overwhelming at first. It's really simple. You can run it really simply. But just to get the baseline understanding of what you're looking at, how to set it up, the site's good. But past that, man, and this is, kind of a warning, right? Maybe not somebody that would be wanting to sell Bookmap. Bookmap takes a while. It's like anything else. It takes a long time of watching the damn thing day in and day out to build experience on it. And there isn't going to be a lot of videos that you could watch to shortcut that experience. It changes through different market conditions. I've noticed also two things, just a little bit of sauce. Bookmap, cumulative volume delta, and the liquidity that you see on Bookmap really gets kind of jacked up or is inconsistent around rollover and beginning of the end of the and the end of the month. I'm an idiot when I look at things, so I can't tell you why, but from a pattern recognition standpoint, that's what I notice. That CVD, where we see orders on and off the book, right around rollover, for contract rollover, right before and right after when you come onto the new contract, and beginning to the end of the month. So, but yeah, I think if you got something that's working well, you're really interested in order flow, you are interested in additional volume tools, I think Bookmap can be a great spot to look, but be prepared that, the first 30, 60 days, you're just getting your feet wet, and it's going to take a while of staring at it. And that's what I did. I first ran it on the side, stared at it for a while, and then,
it gets hard because people get roped into using it to take trades. So they all of a sudden start seeing, they think things. So my advice was like, trade the way, like if you're a VWAP person, lean into your VWAP, but maybe you're sprinkling Bookmap on top of it. And then in your review, you're looking back to see like, how did Bookmap look throughout the trade? What did Bookmap maybe tell you? But I think that's where like the resources now, dude, for trading education are crazy. To be able to stream with me or you, see how different people are using the same thing, and then find your own way of using it that works for your strategy. We didn't have that. I didn't have that. Like, there's just so many people streaming now.
To answer the rest of the question, hop on to people's streams that are using it. There's a ton of people live on YouTube every single day that have a Bookmap chart running. It's actually one thing that I have to add to my stream because I pull it on and off. You've got on me about it where I got to actually have it sitting on there.
Gotta have it on there. People like to see it. How did you get introduced to it? Who showed you Bookmap?
Man, so I came over to the futures market, and none of this stuff was available in Forex. A few years ago when I was coming over, no centralized data, no volume, none of that stuff. So I think I've been a little bit like a kid in a candy store where like I haven't been able to have these things, and so I was super interested in like anything that wasn't available to me. I'm like, wait a minute, I can see where buy orders are on the book, all of the buy orders for the S&P 500, everybody's platform, straight trading from the same spot. So
it's crazy.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. So probably a byproduct of watching other people use it, people that I respect and look up to. So yeah, I'd say it's helpful up to a point, but just to finish on this thought, what you were saying there, if you have something that's working well, already completely well, or you're adding more things, you have to understand, I still think there's an upper limit for the amount of information and tools you can use. You can't use everything, man, right? Like another resource that I don't use and know much about is footprint charts. I've played around with a little bit, but you're going to find traders that are heavy. They're on Sierra charts. Everything's set up. They're trading off of footprints. They're looking at all these stacked imbalances. That probably works really well for them and might work well for you. Do I think you can trade with 100 indicators, Bookmap, footprint charts, squawk in your ear, like, being a fundamental trader? You got to keep it simple to a degree. It has to be repeatable. So, like to everybody out there, I think Bookmap can be dangerous, man. I like it a lot. But it is just like anything else. If you're watching 47 other markets, maybe, adding Bookmap in isn't the spot for you.
Yeah. What do we want to talk about with your prop firm accounts? Tell everybody like what are you trading on stream?
Yeah.
Why? What are you working for as far as payouts? Catch everybody up on that.
Yeah, man. So I was trading. I've been with Top One, trading primarily with Top One, partnered affiliate with Top One, worth noting. I was trading the same set when they launched a 7-pack of straight to sim funded pro accounts. And I just buried them, but not before I traded them, I think, for 4 months. I did a postmortem on stream.
Wow, and I don't, dude, 4 months.
And listen, I don't mind being the guy to hop on and say, yeah, I traded prop accounts for 4 months and then buried them, because here was my goal, right? Okay. They had just launched. I had never traded an intraday trailing drawdown. I had never traded at all. I had never traded accounts with an equity stability score. As a whole, a consistency rule was fairly new to me this year. So I wanted to make videos about them. I wanted to talk about them. I wanted to be the guinea pig. And I said, listen, guys, I'm going to try to hold on to these. I'm going to try to trade them to a payout, not going to trade them real super aggressively. And we're going to trade them all the way to a payout or to failure live every single day. And that's what I did. Unfortunately, to the failure, right? It's interesting to work with intraday trailing drawdown. Interesting to work with an ESS. I think I did a lot right, a lot wrong. I won't go into too much
Are you
detail.
going to do it again? Are you going to get the same accounts, or are you going to do something different?
No. So now, outside of those, I was trading instant fundeds, and really through this year, my goal, like I started to talk about this, my goal with prop firms going down one of those two paths is to get moved to a live account. I have yet to have a live account with a prop firm where I got kicked to a live account. Rather than trading a bunch of them super aggressively, copy trading a ton of them, that's my goal. Trading those 7 accounts didn't really support that, but we held on to them. I didn't trade them super conservatively. It's like $1,000, risk per trade that I was winning or losing on the day. It was just a lot of back and forth trading. Again, I talk about it in a video, but I'm on instant funded accounts with Top One. My goal is to get moved to a live account, and what I'm doing there is trading them individually and attempting to build a buffer. So what I mean by that is not just trade for the 20% consistency rule, get to the point where you can take a payout, and then hop back in, maybe copy trading them individually, because you're only going to get moved from one, gives you a little bit more room to work. Right. And then on the back side of that, of course, right? Where am I making money? Live account. Trading a live account, standing to risk or lose the way more than the price of all of the instant fundeds that I trade on a day by day basis, right? In each trade. So, that was a fun experiment to do, but it was definitely tough working with it. I share a lot of my outside trading on stream as well. I talk about it in the free Discord, but been cooking on some instant fundeds. I've got one.
I still think they're the easiest for payout.
Yeah, they are also. It's the higher priced account. I think, the straight to sim funded pros are objectively more difficult, in my opinion. Some of the other stuff that's out there from other firms with intraday trailing drawdown is tough, really tough to work with. So I think the instant fundeds are super solid. So yeah, I got one in a good spot. Just hoping to be in a spot, hopefully, to get kicked to a live account. That's the goal. So
you think more firms are going to do instant funded? I saw the guy that runs Top Step tweeted something today about accounts with no activation fee. It's like a race to the top here on who's going to have the best features, the least hurdles to getting to the payout. What's your prediction for the prop space over the next year? What are you thinking? I know you're cooking on that. I know you've been sitting there in the bubble bath at night plotting your next 10 moves, and you're thinking about what's the future of the prop space look like.
Listen, I think companies are going to continue to try to innovate. The space is competitive. There's a lot in there. I personally do like instant funded. I think Top Step's move with the back to funded, being able to reset essentially a funded account was kind of interesting. Something they launched, they were talking about with no activation fee. I don't know what that's going to look like. Maybe a more expensive account on the front end, but I think these companies are going to continue to get more aggressive, more competitive. And not to go down another path, I do think that some of that sim farming, super aggressive churn and burn of accounts is coming to an end with most of them. Not to say that you can't trade props much more aggressively, and you should, than a live account. It's a much different game. But I see a lot more leading the way towards live accounts, towards creating benefits in live accounts, incentivizing traders on the way to getting there. But I see that coming to the forefront. I think if you're trading semi-consistently, you're going to have those two paths where you're able to copy trade. And let me tell you, not to argue against it, there's never been a better time to leverage it, man. They have now third-party trade copiers.
Yeah, but I saw some firm ban third copy trade.
I did
copiers,
see that
whatever. So I think that might be coming down the pipeline. That's on my bingo card. That wouldn't surprise me.
Here's my thought, man. I think if you're coming up, right, if you're a futures trader, this is what I would tell myself earlier on, Zach. Leverage prop firms, utilize them. They're an excellent resource. The ROI on your money is absolutely insane, right? What you put into an instant funded versus a payout you could take or even an eval. But don't lose sight of actually attempting to trade. Don't get so caught up in the prop firm game where it's just this, all these games that everybody plays, and all of a sudden, if that starts to go away, you start to get flagged, you start to have an issue. Can you still trade? Are you creating a positive EV in the markets itself, or are you just YOLOing accounts like absolute crazy? Custom tailor, learn how to play that game. It's very different than trading a live account, and you shouldn't treat it the same. So, understand the risk parameters, learn how to custom tailor your risk, management, even your approach, your trading itself, to work with those firms to get yourself towards a payout. Like you said, not getting too conservative and sitting in accounts for forever, like I just talked about on that example. But don't lose sight of actually figuring out how the hell to trade. Right? That's
Great point.
My thought.
Great point. One more prop firm question. New trader, never been involved in prop trading before. Okay, I hear you, Zach. I shouldn't really fund my own account and trade my own money. I hear all these hiccups with prop firms and their rules. Okay, I get it. I'll pick a firm and I'll know the rules. Any specific account size, any specific risk per trade, any specific advice for the new person to prop trading? My barber asked me about getting into what we do. And I'm like, come to the stream. Okay, but he doesn't understand prop firms. So what's like the easy way to get people in? What's the small steps, the tips that are most important at the beginning?
Yeah, I think if you're coming off of demo, which you probably don't want to spend too much time on to begin with, if you're coming off of demo, if it's your first account, maybe you go with the eval account. Top one's got them. Maybe you go with the one-step eval account
because they're cheaper.
Yeah, because it's $35, right? And essentially, you're going to throw $35 at the wall a couple times, and you're not going to bury yourself in thousands of dollars of debt the way most of everybody does when they start trading. I think the most advantageous, once you get past your few mistakes, you make a little bit of progress. I think one of the best ones is an instant funded 50K. It's on the lower end of the price spectrum. It's one of the best across almost all firms, profit target to max loss limit ratio, and it's usually the best on the withdrawal amount. So and there's no time limit, there's no challenge, there's no activation fee, there's no none of that. So what would I do in that account though before you're consistent, you're a barber or so, your barber getting involved? I would trade it stupidly slow, super slow. I would be too conservative, and I would try to create, some profit in the account working towards that payout without losing them, in a week or a day or two. That's where I would go with it. But I think a 50K instant funded account, great spot. It really doesn't create all the negative habits that come around with YOLOing evals, that type of stuff. Right. You can work yourself towards a nice payout, right? They're inexpensive, relatively inexpensive. But if you're coming straight from nothing, maybe an eval account, right? Maybe an eval account to get started.
Go back real quick to your previous answer. Sure. What is sim farming?
Yeah, man. So this is I don't want to take any heat on this, but here's the
am I setting you up for heat?
No. Because I take a different stance, right? And listen, I'll go out on a limb and say I'm partnered and affiliated with a prop firm, right? And someone called me in the past a wolf protecting the sheep or something, or a sheepdog protecting the sheep or something along those lines, right? Listen, I don't think prop firms are angels, but here's the deal with sim farming. Prop firms have a set of rules. You can throw money at the firm up until a limit where they flag you and create a positive expected value by ripping through accounts, really not trading at all, and take payouts. You can do it with the eval big hitter in the space without naming is the sim farm spot to go. Not that I recommend it at all. I actively don't. But you can get it done with instant fundeds as well. The problem is, and it's so much of what we see in the space. And again, I don't want to stick my neck out, but a lot of what we see from traders, quote unquote traders, a lot on socials, it's just sim farming behind the scenes. They're talking about trading. They're talking about the models they trade, the risk management.
Say the names.
And they're I'm not that guy. I'm not that guy, right? But no, listen,
I can see in your head there's a list of names.
Listen, I'm not that guy, right? And I never know exactly what's going on.
When you're ready to disappear, dude, when you make all the money you're needing, you're ready to disappear, put out the list.
Listen, so essentially, when you see people, because I really didn't know at what level it was going on. I was seeing guys take huge payouts, and I was also seeing extremely aggressive trading. They're trading, copy trading 30 accounts to pass them at one time, and then they're copy trading 5, but they're always on new sets of accounts. So essentially, that I think as a whole is coming to an end because you're not actually trading. You're just figuring out a way with a large enough bankroll, you can YOLO the account every single day, zero trading, zero risk management, absolute bare minimum risk management.
Just a coin flip basically on a directional move.
100%. Without going into too much detail, right? You have a max loss limit and a profit target. Your goal is to either hit the profit target or blow the account. You can do that by full porting it day over day over day and restarting until you work yourself towards a payout. That's done at a really high level with a large bankroll at a lot of firms by a lot of guys. I'm not
A
saying
lot of your favorite influencers, everybody. I'll say the names, dude.
No. Listen, so here's the deal.
I'll take the heat. I'm not afraid of the heat, dude. I'm not afraid of the Twitter boys.
Here's the deal. There's a line between being a profitable trader and being aggressive and using the opportunity to leverage prop firms and work through them, and then just blatant sim farming.
But do you define it as being profitable if you can take payouts, or is it taking more payouts than you spend? What defines being a profitable prop trader now?
So taking more payouts than you spend, but doing so in a way where you are not just leveraging the ability to hit the reset button, right? If there's dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of blown accounts behind, your payouts, and you're spending
one payout.
Yeah,
12,
and you're
15.
spending.
Is there a number?
Here's a dollar number. If you're spending $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 a month to take payouts of $10,000, $20,000, $25,000 a month, that's not trading, man. Nothing that you did at all in live market conditions would be even close to making money.
I would love to see what the commenters have to say about that.
No, so again, man, listen,
people will say, Zach, I made 25, I spent 20, I'm up $5,000. What are you talking about?
Listen, man, it's a game, and it's lucrative, and it's I know
a
lot of guys have a lot of guys say it's us against the firms are the devil, and I'm going to milk them until they're done, right?
Should that be the title of this prop firm? Our prop firm's the devil?
I don't think so. Because again, listen, man, who am I to say this, right? Like, I haven't done it. I'm definitely not the sim farm king. I'm not the trading king. I'm not on all leaderboards. I'm not. But I came to recognize what was going on because a couple of guys enlightened me. They showed me, what the deal was. Here's what I do. Load up. I know exactly when guys are starting to get flagged. I load up and I full port every single day at the open or on news until I get to a payout. There's no trading here. It's just full porting. So anyway, to wrap this, that was like open season for a long time. When I came into futures props, it's coming to an end. There's limitations being put. Prop firms are saying, hey guys, like if you want to do this, go somewhere else. We're not here for this. We want to reward traders in sim on the way to trading live accounts potentially in the future. But yeah, there's a balance there, guys. So be cautious. And where I would say is,
I think some people don't even know what that is. You know what I mean? I would assume that there are a lot of listeners that have never done prop. Like my barber, he's not going to know and be like, what the fuck is a sim farmer? That's why I wanted to ask you that, so you could clarify on what that is.
Yeah,
because most people will buy an account, trade it for however long it may last, either lose it, get it to pay out, buy another account. Then after they buy that account and take that payout, then they'll probably consider copy trading and going for more scale. That's usually, I think, the path people take. I maybe came into it a little bit more aggressive. I bought 3, traded 1 at a time, but still same kind of idea. Like I was just learning, you know what I'm saying? I think that's more normal. So for when people hear this and they hear the term sim farmer and they're like, why are these people on Twitter writing that this firm banned them? Well, the firm banned them because listen to what some of these people are trying to do. They're trying to game over the system, which makes a prop firm not sustainable.
100%. And you could go yourself to Chat GPT, and I don't encourage anybody to do this, but this is the truth, is where it's at. Plug in all of the prop firm's rules, all of the rules and regulations, how the drawdown works, everything, and explain that you want to YOLO the account every single day. You will have a natural break-even win rate over time, but a negative risk to reward. How many accounts on average does it take before you hit a payout? That's what sim farming is in general. So, again, I think there's a very clear line between it, and some start to toe it too far. But a lot of what we see is not trading. It's just sim farming. And some guys say that's prop trading. That's what the whole thing is. You guys are just, you're just being too timid with it. You're trying to be on the, whatever, milk it while you can. And then move on. Right. But there's a reason that a lot of these guys, that majority of these guys, 9 out of 10, do not trade live accounts. They don't trade their own personal live accounts because they're not trading. And as soon as they're done, they move on. They do something else. Right. So I wouldn't encourage it. I think you run the risk of getting banned before you take your payouts. You run the risk of getting flagged and kicked. you also diminish the opportunity for other traders, but that could be argued that, prop firms are the devil and they're making a whole bunch of money anyway. So
dude, I want to use that as the
But-
title. Come on, let me use that as the title, dude.
listen.
Are prop firms the devil? Will Top One be mad at us if they're the sponsor of this podcast and then we use that as the title? I think it would get clicks.
Here's what I would leave with. Use whatever title you want. Here's what I would leave this conversation with, because this is where it negatively affected me. Be cautious of who you're watching, and question to a degree what they're doing, what's going on with their trading. And there's a couple guys that are really open and honest about being super aggressive and ripping through accounts and talking about spending tens of thousands of dollars a month on prop firms, going through hundreds of accounts. But if you have traders that are trading and taking huge payouts across multiple firms, and they're not discussing any of the type of accounts they're trading, how they're trading them, how aggressive they're being, there's a good chance that that's not trading, right? So you can create negative expectations, which is what I did early on. I watched a lot of it, and I'm like, well, why aren't I making that money? That's the standard. These guys are traders. I'm doing shit over here with my little payout for, a few $100, $1,000, whatever. These guys are doing, a $50,000 payout, $100,000 payout. Well, you don't realize there's $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 behind that payout that they spend, or more on prop firm spend. Yeah, there's dudes sharing that they spend over $100,000 on prop firms in a year.
That's crazy.
My brother, if you're spending, I don't even know how you trade that many accounts.
No, you're YOLOing them. Like you're losing them multiple times in a day. You're not using proper risk management.
So again, man, do your thing. Do whatever you want to do.
Can you please bring the list, and we will start the episode next time with you reading off the names of the list of all the sim farming influencers and how bad of an influence they are in the community?
The part about that, no, but the negative part about that, the worst part about that is, if you're gonna do that, do your thing, right? Do whatever you want to do, man. Who am I to tell you? Whatever, run the game, but don't pose as a trader and maybe charge somebody or teach somebody how to trade, and not tell them that you're spending 20, 30, 40K a month on maybe that's a high end on prop firms, right? Just just don't do that. Don't do that, because you're creating a crazy negative expectation, something so unrealistic, where this guy's trading one eval account or one individual 50K, and by the time they actually stand to work themselves into profit and take a nice payout, they think they're the bottom of the mud because they're watching somebody else.
Meanwhile, they did it right.
Yeah. Meanwhile, that's actually, they're doing great. They're doing their thing. Yeah. So that's where I think the super negative piece comes into.
Well, it comes into, like you said, I think this is a good point to finish on. Watch the stream of the person you want to trade like. Most traders are streaming. Some don't, but a lot of people stream now. You can find someone that's taking payouts and you can follow their stream, Zach being one of them, and you can see how they trade and find something that works for you. You can then see, though, if they're full of shit or not, too. Are they trading the same accounts every day? Are they showing you their wins and losses? Showing you, like this week, 2 break-even days for me. I showed the trade Zella. I go over the trades on stream. I show every click of the button. So then I think that makes it, it separates us from 100%. The rest in some way. You know what I'm saying?
100%, man. And again, I don't claim to be the best.
Unfortunately, I haven't been called a sim farmer yet. I haven't yet. That means I'm not going hard enough.
No, man, you're not blowing enough accounts. But look for transparency. Look for honesty in the person. What are they doing? Are they talking about what they're doing? How they're doing it? Like I actively said with these accounts, with the instant fundeds, I'm trading them more aggressively. I'm risking, an amount that I will not hold on to these accounts. I stand to lose them, relatively quickly. Not that I'm ripping through dozens and dozens and dozens of them each month until I hit dozens of payouts. But is the person talking about any of that, or are they just saying 50K profit today, copy trading, and then it's quiet when on the red day? Or are they showing you, like I did, here's the postmortem, look at all of the I showed the whole damn thing. So
even having a flat day. When people see you have a flat day, some of these guys, they don't know how to have a flat day. They just trade every day. They are just clicking buttons. They're not actually executing a strategy. It's different. Dude, great nuggets today, bro. Thank you for the sauce as always. I'm sad I'm not going to see you next week at the event in LA, but I look forward to seeing you in Tampa in May.
Excited for Tampa. I think if you're listening and you're debating an in-person event, obviously I'm biased because I'm going. I think the in-person events are few and far between. When was the last one? It's going to be a year ago.
May. It'll be a year.
There you go. Yeah, man. getting around your people, not coming to learn some magic from, you know, me or Austin, but getting around your people, around traders. There's a ton of people on the list for this one.
A lot of guest speakers, a lot of
yeah.
networking sessions, a lot of panel style discussions. Everybody, it's going to be great.
You get perspective, you make connections, and I really think that in-person stuff is like invaluable, man.
And we're drinking.
Yeah, we're having a good time.
We're having fun.
Yeah. We're wine and dining. It's nice. Yeah, man.
Did I tell you I put Randy onto Wawa for the first time when he came last year from Canada at like 3 a.m? We got Wawa. He was like, "This is amazing. This is a gas station hoagie." I'm like, "Yeah, bro."
That's awesome. Awesome.
No, but listen, everybody, I'll put the link for all Zach's stuff down in the description. As always, make sure you check that out. Tune in tomorrow. He'll be live. Yep. Appreciate you, buddy.
Live
as
every
always,
day, guys. Real quick on the way out.
Yeah.
Appreciate the call on, man. 9:30 a.m. Eastern every dang day. 100% free on YouTube, Kick, X, across socials. 100% free community. Come and hang out. Come and watch the wins, losses, everything in between, and maybe have some fun. Maybe win an account. Maybe crack some jokes. I appreciate anybody that hops on.
Dude, you'd get more viewers if you take your shirt off. You got to do it like Steve will do it and start taking your shirt off and streaming no shirt. That'll pump them numbers up there big time, buddy.
That'll get them right away. Right away.
Yep. All right. Thanks, bro. I appreciate you. Everybody, thank you for listening. If you stayed all the way through, we appreciate you. Make sure you're subscribed, and we'll see you next weekend for another episode.